that with Ultimate Endgame, the Ultimate Universe would be coming to an end. And one of the questions that we had here on this channel was, well, what's next? How could you end your most profitable section of comics and replace it with nothing? While across the pond at DC, they are changing the game with their absolute line of comics. Marvel has made the announcement that we knew they had to make.
Oh,
Either the Ultimate Universe is coming back or they're replacing it with something else. Well, we know what the answer is, and we know exactly what they're replacing the Ultimate Universe with. And no, it is not another Ultimate Universe. Here to have the conversation, of course, we've got Marco.
Celsius!
And not Tyler, who is typically ever present here. Tyler is away. Instead, we have replaced him with someone who has an incredible amount of talent as an artist, as a father, as a husband, as a man. We've got the man, one of the men behind the Bardic Verses, one of the men behind Summit Comics, Mr. Pete Collins. Pete, how are you doing, brother?
I'm great, man, and I'm going to do everything in my power to be a good substitute for Tyler today.
Well, if you make an occasional good joke surrounded by a buffet of bad ones, then you will be in Tyler company.
Successful.
Then I'm your guy.
Locked in.
Hell yeah. Earth 2 Tyler, says Kyle. I love it. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today, and I'm so glad to see all of you in the chat already. We've got over 60 of you here, and we literally just went live, so thank you guys so much for hanging out and being on time and being early. More on time than we were this morning. So that's a beautiful thing. Also, we're about to get into things, but I do need to say that this community put together a tier list of MCU films, and it was pretty abominable.
Yep.
And some of the same people who shit on us for
Slandered.
our Women of DC tier list, which was wrong to do because it was completely 100% official. Some of those same people put together an ass tier list of Marvel films. It was dog water. And so I say that to say, even in this community, we can have wrong opinions. Not us on here
No.
on the panel, but it's
Exempt.
you guys in the chat. So let's never criticize the pals again, shall we? Jet with that shit tier list. Okay. What is midnight? Midnight is the word that Marvel is bandying about. It is not a word that we typically associate too much with Marvel outside of the Midnight Suns, which makes sense. Keep that in your mind. A bunch of the typical websites are publishing now that Marvel sent them an email with just one promotional graphic, and it should be on your screen. It says, Marvel Comics presents a terrifying new universe. Midnight. And the font is Midnight Suns-ish. But midnight, the light had its turn. Fall 2026.
Light. The light. We're moving away from the light. Like this little candle-esque logo. Candle-ass logo.
Candle-ass. So yeah, go ahead.
On Thursday, Tyler sort of prefaced this where he's like, "Hey, Mark, have you heard the news?" I hadn't. Consider my butt on the seat, my socks on, and I'm whelmed.
Yeah, I'm a little interested to see where this is going. The one thing I picked up on, there's a lot of videos on social media, hypothesizing what this could be about. I saw a bunch yesterday, and I think the thing that sticks out to me isn't just the Midnight Suns-ish font, it's the inclusion of that clock, right? Like obviously midnight being 12, but I wonder if there's something more to it. And the thing that it threw me back to initially was like the real world doomsday clock, so many minutes to midnight and all that. And I wonder if there's some aspect here too. Maybe it's not just horror, but it's maybe there's some nuclear setting aspect involved here to block out the sun, the light's gone, that sort of thing. Um, but I'm intrigued to see where this is going.
Pete, it sounds like you came to pod this morning because
A bit.
you put some shit down. Now, can I just say what this immediately makes me think about? And it brings horror to my body. And maybe that's what Marvel's going for. This does appear to be a horror-based universe. Midnight, darkness, sun maybe even being blocked out. It gives me flashbacks to Blood Hunt,
Oof. Yep.
which is something that I never, ever want to think about. And now I am. Jet with the 5 spot says, let's get this party started, pals. Midnight? Yeah, bro, it's my bedtime. I'll see you next initiative in 7 months.
Oh yeah. That's right. It's only getting the 5 issues, so
All right, Jet, I'm sorry I called you out before. We're
all
friends.
love, all love.
Yeah, thank you for kicking things off today with the super chat. It's a reminder that super chats are in fact open. I've already decided that if we get across our goal, we will play the Woat game, the worst of all time today. Marco, are you equipped to do that? I just realized. You might not even be equipped.
I don't think I am equipped.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so we probably won't play the Woat game. But we'll do something else fun. So there you go. Let's talk a little bit more about what Midnight is, because The Beat and Bleeding Cool both have more information on what we can expect from this that other websites aren't necessarily promoting. So both of these websites are saying that this initiative will be led by, at the very least, Jonathan Hickman and Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Oh.
Now, Bleeding Cool adds Benjamin Percy to that list. Actually, so does The Beat. Both Percy and Johnson signed new deals with Marvel fairly recently. We know about it with PKJ. That's often talked about. He quit his day job in the military and now is full-time at Marvel. Benjamin Percy, though, just announced a re-up, a 2-year deal. So he's back. He's staying in Marvel's clubhouse for another 2 years. I don't know about Hickman, but Bleeding Cool suggests that they all signed exclusive deals recently. I don't know about Hickman's re-up deal.
Sure. Or like how long it was in the first place.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that. But on its face, those are 3 pretty big names for Marvel to launch this with.
Yeah, I think that's, upon hearing the news, is where the excitement is built up. I trust the creators over the marketing, over the initiative. I know PKJ can write a really good story. I know he's been delving in the horror realm for a while now. He's just capable. Same with Benjamin Percy. With all of the, with anything that he can pick up, I think he can craft a good story. He can build good characters. So I'm more excited for the setup of this, for the kind of construction. If we're sort of thinking about this as, the next wave, if these guys are the ones driving the ship, all right, you know what? I got a ticket to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think and if Hickman's building the house and, PKJ and Percy are going to be, taking it over from there and maintaining it, then that sounds That sounds pretty sweet. I like that. And I hope that unlike Imperial, that this has some kind of a chance to really stick and move. Because that seemed to unfortunately drop off sooner than maybe expected.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Dude, Marvel's main writer is Jed McKay, and he found out that his Imperial Nova series was canceled via email before the first issue even dropped.
Oh,
So
that's
what are we
rough.
doing?
That's rough. That's
Um,
rough.
Now there's an element of this that immediately doesn't excite me, and it's the part that would have excited me the most 2 years ago, and that's the name Jonathan Hickman. I'm going to be honest. I see his name as an architect for a new series. I'm not getting up for it. I'm not. We've done this song and dance too many fucking times. He didn't finish his plate with the X-Men. Gods was, in my opinion, a flop. It whether you liked it or not, it didn't do what Marvel wanted it to do. It was supposed to change the game for Marvel's cosmic entities, and that did not happen. That didn't happen. Didn't change. The Ultimate Universe, Hickman was the architect of it, and listen, one of the worst things I've ever seen in comics is the whole month to month storytelling. And
Mm.
that was, I don't know if it was his idea, but it definitely was. I associate him with that.
Yeah, yeah. His name does not build confidence anymore, and that's to the aforementioned things you just called out there, Sean. But I I'm almost glad that it feels like he's being supported by EKJ and Ben Percy, as opposed to he's architecting this. Um, I think that could still work, but I would probably want to see more input from the other two guys in the construction and building of that. Because yeah, you're right. I feel burnt, and it's crazy to me that you guys have this experience of him being the guy from 2010s Marvel. My experience is only post Krakoa, and so uh that star was never it was great. It was never even that high for me. So now it feels like even playing field for these other guys, for Ben Percy and for PKJ. Like they feel equivalent.
You know what I love about what I love about Hickman's work is that high polished concept approach that he tends to take. Like Krakoa was new, different. Even Avengers World, right? Like that was is it called Avengers World? With Hyperion and introducing all these other characters. That was great. And what I feel happens is like the a lot of Hickman driven initiatives rely very heavily on his name and his presence to kind of get off the ground. But then, and whether it's Marvel or whether it's creatively driven on the back end, it seems that those high stakes, highly visible, high concepts just kind of, fizzle out. And we end up going back to, the status quo or shifting to an initiative that's less exciting in general, you know. And I think that was pretty apparent with Imperial, right? Like it sounded like they had a really solid direction to relaunch all of that, that space opera aspect of the Marvel universe, and then it just kind of into the dust. So I hope that's not the case here. Um, I think Hickman has great ideas, but I agree, his name and his name alone isn't enough to really excite me anymore because I know what's going to happen 6 or so months later.
And that's a shame because Hickman truly is an amazing writer.
Mm,
But the way that he's been utilized by Marvel has now created this fear within the audience of him not doing what he says he's going to do or what they tell us he's going to do. It's happened too many times now.
mm.
Um, here's a super chat from Robert, our buddy Robert, 6.99 CAD. If this is strictly honor characters, it's probably another 2 year side project. You can't say Marvel Comics without mentioning short term gains.
That's fair. That is fair.
It feels like they're doing like pump and dumps, and I really hope that's not what this is. I really hope that's not what this is. But we do have to, we have to acknowledge that right now, like at least for me, my confidence in Marvel isn't overwhelmingly high. Now, I would love to be hyped, fully hyped for this. Like, it's a new universe with a horror focus from creators who we like, writers we like. We don't know any artists. They need to announce artists. But all that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. Like a new universe, sure. A new universe where it's horror based. Hmm.
Feels like maybe you can write yourself in a corner there, like, and also the question there becomes, are we doing a horror bend on Daredevil, or are we using, a man thing to sort of fill that void, to fill that specific niche? Because this is a niche within that, right? The horror bend, Midnight Suns in general. So I think also they have to be careful about the messaging, because Imperial has, and all this, the cosmic stuff that feels ingrained and built into Marvel. You say cosmic, people go, okay, for sure, Marvel, that's my jam. But I feel like there's less of a association or fan base for the mystical side beyond a Doctor Strange, beyond a Wanda. After that, I feel like you get into a certain crowd, as opposed to Marvel fans at large. So I'm also curious to see what the characters get announced. Who are we dealing with here? Who are we interacting beyond the creatives?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I really hope they leverage, those 70 Marvel's horror characters, Son of Satan, the Frankenstein, their version of Frankenstein, give me Dracula from Tomb of Dracula, not red armor, white hair Dracula that we see in the current continuity of things. I hope that's the direction, and not, here's a vampire Spider-Man and zombie Scarlet Witch and like characters that we see on the day to day normally. I hope it's an opportunity to really, elevate and showcase some of those other characters.
Mm.
So I feel like there are things to unpack from what both of you said. Um, right away, like I don't think Marvel Cosmic is bigger um than Marvel horror, because Marvel Cosmic characters that we love, core comics, Thor, you know,
I,
Silver Surfer.
I think it was. I think it was at one point, like the 90s comics where it was, you had an ongoing Silver Surfer, ongoing Guardians of the Galaxy, very different than the movie version, but there. I think, you know, 20, 30 years ago, I think, it certainly was bigger than what they were offering for horror. In general, I think they probably have more options and opportunity to make horror larger, though, right? They've got a lot of characters that veer to that dark side inherently. I mean, even Wolverine could, in essence, be a dark character, right? Um, so I think they have an opportunity to cement it as being bigger, but it kind of flip-flops, I think,
Well, the thing too, though, is that um the absolute universe and the ultimate universe did not succeed with offbeat characters.
True.
They succeeded with the most popular new character in comics is Absolute Batman. They succeeded with the most mainstream characters they possibly could have. They took no risks other than Absolute Martian Manhunter in terms of lineup. So I have a very difficult time believing that Marvel will or should do anything different than that. But then what's the point? Like what does that even mean at that point? Because if the Avengers exist and they're going to fight against, horror, right? Well, that's Bloodhunt. We just had that shit. You can always have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What from this is something that we can't have normally? That's a hard question to answer because Marvel has a horror section. There's a big difference between a new universe that's flat ground and a universe that has an immediate theme. This is horror. Well then, okay, so it's fucking Deceased. Or it's, like it then becomes a gimmicky offshoot to me rather than a vibrant new world that I'm going to spend a significant amount of time in.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And the one thing that I don't want to see, come from all of this is them going down the path that DC already took, right? Like DC had success with, I forgot the name of the title, with the DC Vampires, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Which I loved. I don't want to see that in Marvel. I've already seen it. Um, at the same time, like I don't want this to be Marvel's version of a of an absolute universe, established clean characters that are grittier and darker and more cemented in, violence and that sort of, I don't want that either. I want them to come to, you're the house of ideas, right? Show me an idea. Don't just borrow one or try to improve on one or make your own version of something. Just give me something unique. And I really hope that's what this is. I think a setting where you could really take their existing horror IPs and really make them, prominent. I think that sounds more appealing to me than, dark, gritty Spider-Man, in a different world where he's not afraid to kill people or whatever. Um, I really hope that they're trying to go for a unique spin on something this time.
Especially if the messaging is this is a new universe. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of baggage with that term now because of Ultimate, because of Absolute. Is this ground zero for characters? Are we building the foundation again, or is this like the way I was envisioning it is at best this is a offshoot that looks like what the Sandman universe did a few years back, right? Under Vertigo, where like this is where this universe kind of sits now. Is that what we're aiming for? Because if that's the case, then that feels a little half-assed compared to what we've been doing here, and the messaging can get a little confusing. Like I think we need some more clarity, and I think that comes from what characters are we dealing with?
Yeah. And you said a name I was holding back on, and that's Vertigo,
Yeah,
right? Like I think in terms of, you know, that's DC's, or was back in the day more so, I guess, DC's mature line, darker stories, more cemented in maybe reality, but also not, where very dark subject matters could come up. Like I hope this isn't that even. Like Marvel had their Max line, what, 25 years ago, that was more, Vertigo-ish, I would say. And I think that kind of worked. And I'm open to that idea. I just hope this isn't it,
yeah.
you know.
Though it's like Marvel Knights, Marvel Max, those are moderately successful um offshoots of Marvel that feel uniquely different enough to give you a flavor you can't get from mainline.
Mhm.
But horror is a genre of story, not like Absolute Universe's framing and Ultimate Universe's framing devices are framing devices that drop you into a new universe and let you go run free. But this is saying here's a genre theoretically if we're doing a horror universe, here's a genre of story of a kind of story, and everything's going to play within that. Theoretically, I'm adding things that they didn't put into the announcement. But that to me, I don't know that I care about that. I need it to be different, but I can buy horror comics from Marvel already. I can already do that. Do I care? Like you say, like a Spider-Man, not who's a vampire, but like who's a spider person. Does that appeal to me? Maybe, maybe. But even that's happened in mainline. So I guess my immediate problem is trying to figure out how. is this going to be meaningfully different from things that I can already get from Marvel or have gotten fairly recently?
If we lean into the experience of the Ultimate line, then that feels like, ooh, okay. I as a consumer can be a little trepidatious about it. But I'm also thinking of all the new readers that kind of have come on board from the Absolute, from the uh the $10 books, the compact comics. Is is this enticing? Is this enticing to those individuals? People who don't necessarily have the familiarity to maybe dive into Marvel mainline. Is this catered at, hey, new universe? You've been on the board for new universes, for Energon, for Absolute, for Ultimate. This is are they thinking we're filling a need, a gap as well? Because I feel like that was answered with Ultimate. We need to do that again as well.
No, I don't think so. Personally, you know, I think the niche element of the horror, right? Like I don't know that this makes it accessible, right? Because you're not everybody likes horror, not everybody wants dark and gritty. Not, if they're going all in, I mean truly all in, right? Like where the mouse isn't standing over them, making sure that they're censoring blood or gore or body horror or whatever. If they're truly going all in, then that is also something that probably reduces their market size, right? Like you're not going to sell that to 12-year-old kids, or you probably shouldn't. So now you're narrowing in on a more mature audience, which does that have implications? Probably to some level. So I think I don't think this is going. I think, look, we have only got a teaser, so we don't truly know like what this is entirely about. But if they're going the route that a lot of us suspect that they're going, I think it's going to fall into like that niche area of their business, and it's going to not really so much be about accessibility.
I'd like to read some of the comments here and let you guys have your say too. Here's a new one from Melon Fist, a name I've not seen before. Welcome. Thank you for chatting. I love to see new names in the chat, so please keep it up. I would have been excited if they got actual horror writers involved, like Victor Laval and Stephen Graham Jones. So that's a point worth turning, right? Like PKJ and Percy certainly have chops for this. PKJ's Hulk, Percy's Ghost Rider, Percy's Wolverine, Percy's X-Force, like they can play in that space.
Mhm.
Hickman, we assume he can play in any space. But what about fresh voices? Or just different ones? Because these are three names we see in mainline Marvel all the time. Like they're there front and center. For the Absolute Universe, DC gave us creative teams that felt distinct and fresh. There were zero, if I recall correctly, Dennis Camp books at DC prior to Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
There was one, I think, Jason Aaron book at DC prior to Absolute Superman. The only like DC mainstay creator that we had at the time was Scott Snyder because even Lemire was coming back from an extreme hiatus at DC.
Yeah, true.
So even this part of it, even the creatives that have been announced part of it, doesn't feel fresh. I'm excited by the names in the sense that these are creators I like, but does it feel fresh? No, I can't say that.
Doubling down on that point, Al Ewing coming over, to play as well, absolute Green Lantern. I feel like to that end, there was, you haven't seen these names before. Let's see what they can do. I can see that play out and probably successful. I would wonder if then we say, okay, these guys are the architects, these three, and we're getting in those other voices that we haven't necessarily heard from. Um, the other component that I was thinking about to that point was, was this a a place where we could plug a Bendis in. He's back, but like, are we how are we thinking about leveraging him and that legacy here, if at all? Seemingly not, but there's also like that kind of potential in my mind. Maybe we hype this up with a hey, Bendis is gonna play in this sandbox.
It feels like going further in a direction that I need to see them not go in, which is I need them to not feel like they have to rely on the creators who already get it done. I got go ahead.
If this is the type of thing that pulls in, more indie talent that's associated to horror genres or true crime or something like that, that does sound very appealing to me. There's so many good books that have come out over the last several years, right? Like on Kickstarter or other crowdfunding, areas that are just, truly indie driven, written and, drawn. And if they're going to start to pull in talent from that part of the industry in to focus on new spin of Ghost Rider, new spin of Blade or whatever, I think that sounds awesome. So I would love to see that over, pulling in um, more established or semi-established names to throw their spin out there. I think fresh blood is always a good thing. And I think that would be very interesting to see. Like Tomb of the Pale Horse, True Cult. There's a lot of good stories out there that um, those talents, if given the reins underneath, Hickman and his architects here, I think that could be truly amazing. I'm sure that's not the case though. I don't want to give Marvel that kind of credit. I don't think they're doing that. But if they are, awesome.
Yeah, and it could be, it's possible that, frankly, I don't even know why we needed this. They could have just announced whatever this is going to be and like call it a day, but it's possible that there are a bunch of creatives on this who are coming from other spaces, and these were the names that they used to get our attention. There's so much we don't know, and I want to like for myself, I want to hesitate to assume the worst here because that feels unfair, even though Marvel has not delivered exactly what we've wanted of late. Here's a super chat from Jay Sage, 4.99 pound. Thank you, brother. I mean, rival. This might be Marvel's new mangaverse, i.e., popular ones have worlds with demons, cursed spirits, etc. Maybe a spider totem carries a new meaning here. Hmm.
Uh,
I remember their manga line. That was fun for like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks. It was pretty cool.
when those books came out.
Yeah, when they came out.
A manga verse. I hear you on a. Is this a new section that we can just kind of play in? I don't know that a manga verse specifically is kind of the angle to come at this. I feel like not the angle to come at it from at any publisher really. If you're not like a Kodansha or Yen Press already, so I'd probably hold off there. But I can see something that is, to your point, populated with demons, with cursed spirits. That feels very Peach Momoko in the demon days. So they have dabbled in that kind of thing, but it doesn't feel like we're building a line around that. That's the thing to consider. How do we build the Marvel universe and infrastructure around this concept?
Here's a great question though from Robert that I think is worth turning. Uh, who are their best-selling horror type characters that could even support the idea of a whole line? Hulk, he already has a horror type book in mainline. That's another problem, is that from a sales standpoint, we talked about Cosmic, and horror has the same problem. Marvel doesn't have a base of characters that just sell in the horror space. You have Hulk, who of late has been more of a horror-based character. He sells. Blade has been able to have some miniseries over the last few years that sold well enough, I guess, for him to continue to get them. Ghost Rider has been able to hold series fairly frequently. There's a Ghost Rider series on stands that will do solid numbers. And if you're talking about core horror, I sort of think that's where it ends in terms of like Marvel's bankability. That's not a line.
Yeah, yeah. The the only other thing would be like those tangential characters. You have to then start to think about mystical alignment. You know, that's where you get your Doctor Strange, your Wanda, Agatha. Um, so, but again, that's not horror as much as it is magic, and I think you can separate those instances while still
Right.
understanding that they can cross over. Um, Anything had a series. R.L. Stein. That was a few
That was
years.
fun.
That was a few years back. Actually, I didn't like it too much, but that was a few years back. Like they have tried with some of these characters. I think there's a good point there, but yeah, what's gonna stick? What's gonna matter?
Yeah, it's a good
I,
point. Like, I don't think there's a lot of options as far as like your, like who's your marquee player. I don't think I don't, yeah, that's a good point.
they don't. Yeah, they don't really. They don't really have one. And again, like if we're I see you chat. If we're extending it out and we're saying Doctor Strange counts, cool. That's fine. I have no issues with that. He is magic, and magic and horror aren't the same. But if you want to throw him in there, sure. Werewolf by Night had the show. We can throw him in, sure. But I wouldn't. Doctor Voodoo, yes. David Font says Doctor Strange by Christian Ward. That would be crazy. Um, is but like all great ideas. Chat's throwing out great ideas. We have great ideas. But are those great ideas that make money?
Yeah, yeah. Like that's on the spinner rack, right? You got Midnight Suns #1, Man Thing #1, Werewolf by Night #1. Are we picking those up? Are you showing up?
No, no. Like it better be buoyed by some other crazy shit. There better be something fucking nuts coming out alongside. Because Man Thing #1 is not getting my willy wet. Okay, I need, I need, like, I need Captain America who was in World War II, but in World War II, the Nazis were werewolves. And so it's not Cap Wolf, but Captain America went to war with them wolves. That's what I want. I want some unique shit. I want some interesting, fresh, different stuff. Yes, Blade, Panther God. Yes, Blade. Blade is there. Blade #1 is there. It has to be there.
The one #1, like that's the guy. This is the guy you're leading with.
Elsa Bloodstone. Yes, Munster. I want more Elsa. I agree.
See, like all these characters you're listing out does not an ongoing make. This is a 4 issue, 5 issue, 6 issue mini for a lot of these.
Word. Word.
If that's the case, that's the price of admission. 4.99 for well, you know what? If they're messaging it that way, and I know we've talked about this in the past, how are they going to message to us? If it is these are meant to be minis, cool. I'm locked in because that's what you told me. But you're telling me this is an ongoing whatever for a Blade or a Werewolf by Night, and then we only get 5 issues out of that. All right, I'm getting frustrated. You're back to the well. You're doing the same kind of stuff. Like you're not giving this a chance. What? Why do I care? Why am I investing?
Yeah, I think the messaging really matters here. Like, be upfront about your plan. And going back to, the Hickman effect of it all too. It's like, if right out the gate they say this is a 1 year initiative, we're going to have, you know, 8 mini series series. We're going to have 8 miniseries over the course of that year with these 8 specific characters leading up to a big event at the end. Okay, fine. All right, you've laid out the checklist for me. I know from a completionist standpoint what I'm getting into, but yeah, and look, we've all been there. There's nothing worse than, investing in a new ongoing, starting to like it, but the sales aren't there and they cancel it after a few issues, right? Like that, and nothing will kill this initiative faster than that. So hopefully they're upfront with their intent, and their intent's good.
Right now, Marvel has to accept the fact that people are down on them, and they have to operate from that perspective. It can't be. Pete's completely right. I don't give a shit about this until I see that Marvel cares. And Marvel will show me they care by not canceling it. You got to earn me now. I don't feel like investing myself emotionally in this or caring about this because I don't trust it. And again, character matters. You're never going to get a line off the ground if you have to rely on Blade, Hulk, Man Thing, and fucking Elsa Bloodstone, no matter how much I love her. That's not going to work. We need things. We need bigger ideas. Here's Victor Giovanni, who says, if you follow Absolute Batman, a new line needs to feature Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Captain America. That is the only thing that moves the needle, not obscure horror characters. And we all want them there. I want them there. They just can't be the driver. It's got to be the characters that we all know and love and might be tired of. But that's how it has to be. Like, if the expectation is that it's going to sell really well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm also thinking, what are we going for in terms of aesthetic? Who's on art? That's also going to matter. Are we looking at we're going to follow the same kind of path. This is a Pepe Larraz for 3 issues. Then we bring on a Marco Cicchetto for another 4 issues. Or are we leaning into the stylings of a Nick Klein? Are we trying to think about something a little bit different for this aesthetically? That's another angle that for me shows we're trying to push the boundaries a little bit. We are the house of ideas, and we're trying something with a different flavor artistically. So hey, come on in, give this a shot. That to me also breeds of confidence in the creatives.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
Well, with
Yeah, go
Hickman
ahead.
involved, I will say that it's a really strong chance that the book's going to be uh, designed attractively. You're going to have that at least, I guess. Like I think with the absolute line, Nick Dragata's Batman, right, is so different than the mainstream, and you know, at first I was admittedly, at first I was kind of turned off by the sharp change, but now it's like you can't have the absolute universe without that, right? Like it's so synonymous in my mind. I hope they're doing something similarly on the visual side, right? Like take some chances, invest in some talent that you wouldn't put on Amazing Spider-Man, and something that veers outside of your in-house style. Make it speak for itself. I really hope they find that person or people.
Yeah, that it's gonna take some unique stuff who really know how to bring horror to life. And you guys are right. Like horror can be you can do horror with any character. Like Pat Zay had a really good idea for Iron Man where he's stuck in the suit. Like that's fucked up.
Oh,
That's creepy. And I want those kinds of things. If you tell me that it's a horror universe in the sense that, like how Absolute is powered by dark side energy, if you're telling me that this is just a fucked up place where like awful things are happening and these characters have to, rise above the darkness, sure, I'm in. And like we can expect to see more like disgusting, horrific stuff like that. That to me is legit.
Yeah,
That's legit.
totally get. I just don't. I want them to approach this with a level of uniqueness that we haven't seen before, right? Like Dark Ages, Blood Hunt, the Cancer Verse. I don't want to see anything remotely similar to that, where it feels like they're just rehashing from themselves or borrowing from DC.
Yep.
You know, that's that'll instantly dissuade me from being a regular purchaser for it for sure.
that's a good point too, because if we can see similarities, the messaging there also becomes, oh look, Marvel's doing that DC thing. Marvel's doing that absolute thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's diminishing to a new initiative.
Yeah.
Which, we've all got to get over that because, and I see it even happening in chat. Like, no, it's not Marvel doing Absolute because Absolute was DC doing Ultimate. Let's
Sure.
not forget if you're a new reader or whatever, like Ultimate came first. The original Ultimate Universe happened over 20 years ago. So DC can't get credit for doing it first because they didn't. You could argue that they've done it better than the most recent Ultimate line, sure, but I'm not going to give them credit for creating this concept. Um, we need, and yeah, Mark, like Marvel will get flowers if they take chances and risks if it's successful. I'm not giving them flowers for taking a chance that didn't work. No, this is critical time. Let's understand. Marvel has been every publisher nearly in comics has had Marvel's ass in terms of ideas for the last couple years. Marvel was outplayed in the creative secondary universe space. DC beat them. They were outplayed and made fun of when it came to the compact stuff. DC beat them. Blind bags have been a disaster. Every publisher who has done a blind bag has done it better than Marvel to this point. And again, I say that as a core fan of Marvel. This is not a I hate Marvel rant. This is Marvel done fucked up. Marvel's Ultimate Universe is gone. It's about to go. And the Absolute Universe shows no signs of slowing down.
Mm-mm.
They need a big win. They cannot do something that feels interesting and creative and have it fail. No, they need to do something that succeeds big time.
Gotta double down on that. And there is so much writing on this for them that I'm sure the pressures felt. I'm sure the expectations are like that's one thing that from the listener end, from our end as the end consumer, we have to imagine that they understand the pressures involved and what's on the line, and that has to be reflected artistically in the book. I gotta feel that that imperativeness.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting about the absolute universe is DC was had some momentum before the absolute universe, right? Like it was putting out good product by and large. It was cleaning up house a little bit. And I think that the absolute universe afforded an opportunity where it's like, hey, here's this take on Batman. Oh, and if you like that, here's more of that polished mainstream version coming out. By the way, we've got Matt Fraction on it, right? So like they were working in tandem, right? Like here's our main universe version, here's our absolute version. You could like them both, and they're totally separate. They're totally different. And if they're going to go a similar route here with Midnight, if you're going to give me a horror spin on, Iron Man, that mainstream book has to, from a success standpoint, I think also have a certain level of intrigue, interest, and hype to it too. Because otherwise, you've got people interested in a version of a character here, and they could give a shit less over here. That doesn't really, that doesn't lead to any crossover potential for your readers, you know. And I think on the whole, I think Marvel's main titles are, they are what they are at the moment. I'm not overly excited about any of their mainstream books, really, you know. And I think they need to find that balance. Like that's important to the success of an offshoot universe, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, people keep bringing up the Ultimate Universe as being canceled. You guys are misinformed. Like it they were always going to do 2 years. That's how contracts work. Jonathan Hickman had a contract to do 2 years. Why do you think they went with the premise of each issue's 1 month.
Right.
If they didn't know exactly when they were going to end it. Come on. I know that on this channel we have debated it, but I have always told you, this was going to end when it was going to end because Marvel told us so.
It's 2 years.
Stop it.
2 years until the Maker comes. That was the promise. It was in the intro of every single book. The little blurb, the Maker is coming in X months.
As soon as Endgame got announced, you should have known it was over. You should have known it was coming before that. But it had nothing to do with sales because all those books were outselling their mainline counterpart. And I say this to you guys all the time. So if you're a regular listener, you need to know these things. Panther God said 616 books are not exciting post Armageddon. I think their post Armageddon plans are how they try to get books on the map. Brother, how do you know? Oh, aside from Armageddon.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I agree with that. I think that Marvel mainline has to develop things that are exciting. And Armageddon to me is exciting, and I'm cool with that. But they do need a little more. Actually, I'm pretty excited about the Hulk War.
Oh, true. Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about the Hulk War.
That stuff's been fun. But again, that's a pocket, right? That's a little carved out slice of the universe. Same with Thor, little carved out slice of universe. None of these are connecting to the same degree.
You're right. You're definitely right.
And I feel like that's what you need. Is that connective tissue, or to what you were saying earlier, Pete, where within the main line, that stuff's all integrated. It feels good. It feels fun for DC, and they have absolute apart, right? Like those things have to work in conjunction. They have to feel complete within their respective universes, so they can run parallel. That way, one doesn't feel like that offshoot. Right? They're running alongside each other.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps drive the initiative in those differences, right? Like absolute Superman and main DC universe Superman, two very different stories, very different feels, and that helps drive, I think, interest in both of them, right?
Yep.
So totally.
So there are other aspects of this to take a look at, and maybe we can even talk about what creators we want to see Marvel tap into, and not just writers, because we have to talk about artists. Marvel neglected to this time around, we won't. We are going to talk about what artists we want to see jump on board, and I'm very curious to hear what Pete has to say, because Pete, of the three of us, is the only one with genuine artistic talent. I draw stick figures. But before we get into that, I do want to put the spotlight on the people who make this show possible, and that is you, the listeners. Patreon.com/The Comics Pals is the best way to support your boys and to show that you love what we do here, and you get some bang for your buck. We love to bang you guys for your buck. Special shout out. Wait, wow.
Phrasing.
Oh, yeah, all right. Special shout out to our Pals vs. Legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine, Stars, the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble, Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout, the Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, who is with us. Good to see you as always. Jesse and the Juggernaut, Kyle the Zenith Flare, who's with us, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, Adam Solis Smith, Sam the Last Young Renegade, Blur, Jekyll Jose, Entertain Me, who never misses us, Peter, Living Lightning Electrics, Just Unseen, Shalom, Paladin, Warburg, Jamzilla, the Party Animal, Cosm the Andric, and Krista Cure Coleman. And how could I miss him? Joining us at the best pals in the universe tier. I want to look this up so I make sure I shout out my man here. We've got Brian Acosta. Brian Acosta became a Pals vs. Legends, so thank you so much for that, my friend. And then, of course, also, I've got to shout out Brian Demolish No Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dammer, and Christian Uncaged, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, Robert Runback, Cashaback, Pete, the Dreamweaver Collins, who is on your screen right now. How about that? James Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight the Cosmic Avenger, BJ Kicks of Comics Are Dope, The Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, and John Barrier B. If you didn't hear your name and you're supposed to, you will a little bit later. Thank you. What additional creators do we need to see added to this list? Because Hickman's cool, Percy's cool, Johnson's cool, but who else?
I think you need that artistic representation first. Before I even think about adding writers, I think tell me what the vibe is. What am I looking at? The visual. Is this gross? Is this drenched in shadow? Is this a confluence of colors, like hi-fi being drawn against Kelly Jones stuff, right? Like what am I looking at? That's probably my first place. Give me artists.
If you're looking for established names for artists, right? Like I think there's a lot of opportunities veering into like the indie side, right? For sure. But I think when, if you're trying to put a recognizable name on the projects to help, kind of bolster the appeal, I guess. I think putting Stegman on a book would be great. Get him on something like a Ghost Rider or a Morbius, something he can really stick his teeth into and just, veer off. I think that would be cool. If Nick Klein is looking to, stick with the kind of stuff he's produced in Hulk, but not with Hulk, I think obviously is a great choice too. Um, I think it depends on the books though, right? Like if I think of like Hellboy is technically horror, right? But that doesn't necessarily visually jump out as, you know, gory or overly in your face kind of an art style. It's very, relaxed and noir. I think going that route could be interesting depending on the title. Um, Peach does some really crazy stuff. I've seen
Mm.
some horror variants on Marvel Snap, which I have a problem with, unfortunately. Um, Gets in the way too much. So she could definitely do some interesting things if positioned on a good title. Um, those are just like the recognizable names off the top of my head. I think that could work.
I mean I co-sign on line. I'm co-signing on a Peach Momoko. Like, what are you thinking in terms of again the look, the feel, how drenched in this stuff? Anybody with thick shadows, anybody that can draw some gore or at the very least make the art make you feel squeamish. I think if that's what we're going for, if that's the horror angle, then yeah, commit to those artists over a like again over the guys we see all the time, a Laraz, a Chichetto.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to see those guys here.
Even somebody like like Greg Capullo did Spawn for forever, and even his Batman had like that kind of that dirtiness to it, right? There's textural, gnarly kind of a detail type thing. If you're really aiming for the stars, and this is super super huge, obviously he's a recognizable name. Maybe there's space there for him. Um, but like my hope is that they do veer into, of course, newer upcoming talents that have that history of pulling off horror comics.
Okay, I want a Venom book. I don't want him to be a goofy, like, love affair character. I want it to be a person gets their body taken by a creature. That's what I want. An invasion, but not an alien invasion of Earth, an alien invasion of one person. And I want Juan Ferreira to draw that.
Ooh.
And I think I want. My mind says Dan Waters. That's where I keep going is Dan
Oh,
Waters.
sure, yeah.
Um, but boy, oh boy, do I need Juan Ferreira in this space.
See that.
And I think the artist that they have to grab, yeah, Body Snatchers, but with Venom. Yeah, I've always wanted that. I think Venom is a horror character who's just too often miscast as being like an action adventure hero guy. I'm stuck on that Iron Man stuck in his suit idea. I really want to see that be the direction with Iron Man. Captain America as a horror like World War II book, I think is super interesting. Um, Heroes, no, I don't think that's Absolute Martian Manhunter because in that book they work together, and that book is very like visually wild. I'm talking core horror. I'm not talking about whatever they're doing in Absolute Martian Manhunter. That's not horror. Eric Canetti, Joe Starr points out, I want him too. Get him for the if there's going to be a Man Thing book. Maybe he's on the Hulk. Get him for something really twisted and cool. Um, there are names. There are names.
There are names, but I feel like Marvel's so gun shy. I feel like those are names, but more so, they are risks. They come off as risks to Marvel. Then we're gonna put a we're gonna create a visual style around this. We're gonna put these guys at the forefront of an event even. There's an I think there's an expectation internally that there's an expectation from us to see the not to say house style, but the guys who are in mainline but just doing another version of that. That's my worry.
I
Yeah,
get that.
I get that too. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Go ahead.
I I
Please,
I, to,
please.
I totally get that. I think you know, would it be interesting to see like a Pepe Larraz version of, like a horror book? Yeah, sure. But also it's Pepe Larraz. Like I can think of 100 other things I'd rather see him draw. I'd really like to see like that fresh blood, that fresh perspective. And you know what? I make every single issue Red Man. Every single one of them.
Ooh,
Every single one of them. If you're like
now you're talking.
go all in or don't, right? Like, shit or get off the pot. Just show me the stuff,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good call. Then the artist can kind of go kind of freeform. At that point, that is
Yep,
more accepting to me of a Laraz of like, oh cool, he's gonna really do some gruesome stuff. Awesome. I can see that.
absolutely.
That's not something a flavor I've touched with Laraz, let's say. So that's something new. That's something different within the context of the same artist.
Yeah.
I would like to see them reach out and grab artists that they don't typically uh hire, but I also think there has to be room for a Pepe Larraz because he's their ace when it comes to artists. So I would love to see him have some spot in this. I thought it was weird that he didn't have a spot in the Ultimate line, but okay. Um but I think this has to be the artist playground, right? Like this has to be where we just let people go nuts. Let's get someone mentioned Martin Simmons. Imagine a fucking Martin Simmons Blade versus Dracula or something like that. Like I'd buy that. I'd buy that. Hickman and who did I just say? Jesus, Martin Simmons.
Yeah, yeah.
Hickman and Simmons, Blade vs. Dracula, 5-issue mini.
Oof. Oof.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
Into the
I love
veins.
I love the idea of it being a just a playground for artists to just, cut loose to. I think that would be amazing, you know. And I think, what we see is heavily edited, it's heavily approved, like there's a lot of guardrails, right? Take that all away. Take it all away and just tell the artist go nuts, right? Here's the story, keep it in the story, but do what you want to do. And there's been a couple of different horror stories that I've worked on, and every single time it's like, okay, what can I draw up to? Like
Yeah.
how how gross, like you gave me a brief description here of this evisceration. How bad do you want it to look? Um, yeah, take the guardrails off. Just let him go nuts.
Yeah. And the best thing I imagine to hear is just like, yeah, make that more bloody. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually more guts.
yeah, yeah. Think about like a Ryan Otley level, like, you know, explosion of inner parts, you know, but more along the lines of horror, not intense action. You
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
give me that. Give me that. Give me crazy colors. Let me see the purples and the browns and the whatever.
Dude, give me Kelly Thompson or Marjorie Liu on a Magic Escape from Hell book.
Oh yeah.
I want her, and we need an artist who's gonna really just go crazy, drawing hell. Different aspects of hell, and Magic just having to get the fuck out of there and exploring her new origin. Maybe she's born in hell. I don't care what it is, but the book is about her getting out of there because something bad is there, and she needs to come and warn everybody else about what's coming out that hellhole. I want it to feel so connected. I want it to feel like every character's book has a point to it. Whereas the Ultimate line, I felt like they were just telling whatever their small story was within that book. I want these books to feel like something is happening and we need to rally together, and there's a reason for every single one of them to be published. That's what I want.
Make that interconnected. Make that relevant to all the other players, to all of the other. Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. And that gives it stakes. It also makes it feel like this was thought through. This isn't just a money grab. Oh yeah, here's a new number one. We're popping these guys. Uh, come come stay for a little while, and then we'll finish with this. If there are consequences within the stakes of the books, then yeah, there's confidence from me.
No, guys, this is an absolute. In Absolute Wonder Woman, she is out of hell and saving the earth. I want Magic. The whole book is her getting out of hell, like having to go through that process. I want to build my emotions with this version of Magic in the core of her worst moment. That's what I want. Because these books always assume like, oh well, you already care about this character. Fuck that. Give me her at the worst time of her life and let's watch her build. That's what I want to see.
It's a 10-issue mini. Each issue is a new circle of hell. 40 pages. That's the kind of shit we need.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Yep.
Come on, man. There's something to this. Thor, cosmic horror.
Yeah.
Thor versus fucking Cthulhu. Thor, like Thor as the entity that's fighting back the horror that's coming, that's trying to infest this universe. He's doing it in the cosmos. Come on, man. Come on now. The Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
That's what they are doing.
I know.
They're keeping this cosmic horror shit back.
Man, that
Roving
that Lovecraftian kind of a vibe, that sounds fucking cool.
against the
That really
Hulk.
does.
Something incomprehensible versus an immovable object. Okay.
Yeah,
What? Yeah. Hell
Come
yeah.
on, man.
that does sound awesome.
Come on, man. I'm in the kitchen now. I'm in the kitchen now, Marvel.
Guardians of the Galaxy. They got to stop a roving black hole or something. Like it's just you could play with stuff. You could play with so much stuff. And if they give us Varney's back and we need to stop him,
Stop it.
Varney somehow he's returned. Oof. Oof.
That's see, I thought we were cooking, and then you had to throw that out there.
Marvel got to prove it to me.
Cancerverse, nah, we did it. We did it. We did the Cancerverse.
What is that?
Um,
It's one of the annihilations, wasn't it?
yeah, it
Like,
was it was it's the world where instead of well, what is it like? I forget. It's been so long since I read that stuff.
Realm of Kings?
It
no,
was
that
it was
was
before that, wasn't it?
uh
Or
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 maybe
maybe
it was
even around the
after.
same time,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Annihilation Conquest. It was like this alternate reality where God, like Marvel was there and like
Yes.
like the cancer from Marvel kind of like spawned out and took over universe something. It's been a while since I've read it, but it was like gnarly, twisted versions of the heroes. Cool enough.
Ivy Moon says Black Witch Widow. I really like that. Like switch shit up. Like
Black
don't
Witch Widow.
yeah, like don't let Black Widow be Black Widow we typically know. Let her be a witch. That's kind of funky. Like I want to see weird shit.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Okay, Victor says Cosmic just bombed. That no way it's cosmic related. So Victor, do you think that Marvel will never do anything cosmic, like anything with a tinge of cosmic ever again? Because of that? I mean, cosmic is not banned at Marvel. That was a line that didn't work out. But obviously, they can still use cosmic elements, and I mean, there's probably multiple books that have cosmic elements being published right now. Yeah, I think what we've just shown though is that this is very doable.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Doable, and now it's on Marvel to execute. That's the biggest concern. Marvel needs to nail this on the head. Needs to ensure that we're kept in the loop, so that way we can become fans of this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they need to commit.
Yep, yep. Show that plan, right? Don't give me the they've been doing the 5 issues and you're out. What happened to those 10 issues and you're out, man? Like give this some ramp. Make sure that you can uh before the event's even over, make sure you're committing to something.
Fucking love that. Panther God said Ultron AI haunting Avengers Tower. Like that's so disturbing to me.
That's
I love that idea. Like, oh man, that's so interesting. Like I want stuff like that. That's so different. And like you could do that in mainline. You could, but like they're not. So let's do it over here.
that's like was it remember that issue of Chainsaw Man where they're stuck in the hotel?
I don't. Wait,
Where
the
the
oh,
every time they go on the floors, it's
oh
just the
my
same
God.
floor. Like
That
like
was amazing.
that little pocket dimension, like that's the shit you could do with, the haunting of Avengers Tower, right? Like you can't get how do you get out? How do you escape?
I love that.
Not gonna be
Dude, it could be. It could be. If you can't tell me you're getting Hickman, Percy, and Johnson, and they don't have great ideas. Dungeons of Doom was just 2 out of 3 of those people, and that was fire.
true. That's true.
Hulk's been hot, and everything that Ben Percy does, I think is pretty good. So to me, I feel like, yo, this is teed up. I think it's teed up. You need time to cook. These books cannot be any more expensive than $4.99, which I still think is ridiculous, but okay. We need fresh visuals and we need distinct stories from mainline.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you have a fighting chance.
You're in the game. Like Marvel
Yeah.
don't even feels like Marvel don't even realize there's a game sometimes.
Do you guys think this is why the Imperial line was kicked to the curb?
At worst, this was the next thing they had planned anyway, and they didn't like the return on Imperial, and so this was the next thing. They just kind of bumped that up. Like, I'm sure they planned these kind of things ahead enough that you can kind of, hey, let's move it up a few months or something. Because we don't even have artists attached to this, but I'm sure the kernel of the idea was there.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Like if Imperial did, gangbuster sales, like it still would have gone off one way or the other, right? So I'm sure they just slid the timeline up on something they already had, simmering in the background.
Yo, Robert, that's a fucking crazy idea, dude. Captain America died in the war, but was Frankenstein back to life in present day as a war machine. Yo, I want to throw. Do I have dollars? Do I have money? I don't have money here. I've got a fucking dime. I threw that shit at the screen. I need that now. That's the kind of thinking that I want for this universe. Captain America as War Machine because that's how he was brought back. Come on. Fuck, dude. Ah. Like it's exciting that we can have stuff like this, and we just need Marvel to pull the trigger on it. And I think they can, and I think they're willing to, because why else would you do this?
Yep. Yep. Please, Marvel, make it good. Please. We need you. Need you back in the game.
They're listening anyway, right? Like
Yeah.
we're their free think tank right now.
There are over 100 people here with us, and hopefully they've all smashed the like button. But whether they have or haven't, it's possible that one of them could work for Marvel.
One editor.
Could be.
Maybe even one president
President of the United States.
of Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have your you don't have you
I
know
was gonna whip it out, but I
Whoa,
hold
phrasing.
on. Sorry.
we are live on YouTube. You cannot whip anything out. There you go. There's Dan Buckley. Thank you, Marco. So I think they've said that we're going to hear more about this next week. Is that accurate? I feel like we've heard that.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw.
Fingers
And
crossed.
we'll probably have to talk about this again next week when we know more. And that's fine, but I think this episode we needed to do this part. We
Yeah.
needed to have a conversation about what could be before they tell us what is.
Yeah.
And also to get us to a place where I think we can be excited because what I have seen is a lot of not excitement. But I think there are reasons to get hyped, and I think we should give Marvel another chance.
Ever the apologist.
Yeah. Captain America and the Horror Commandos. Robert, they should be paying you. You are fucking smart. What are you doing with your life other than paying us? Are you creative? Because I love your ideas. The Horror Commandos? Are you kidding me?
Get him on. Get him on a book. Marvel, you got top tier talent here.
Are you excited for Marvel Midnight? 55% of you said no. I mean, that's Marvel's doing. You know? I can't really blame the audience for not being excited.
I think over the course of this conversation, I think I've personally gotten a little more excited about it than I was when we first started. But I get it, right? Like you know, we've been burned before. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see what that announcement looks like, and maybe that changes.
Yeah. Pat Zay says excited is a strong word. Maybe there should have been a third option, but I like to make you guys commit. No half stepping. Half measures are bad. We've got a lot more show to do, though, and next week we will dive into whatever the official announcements are behind this as far as like the concrete stuff. Victor makes a great point. Victor Giovanni. No one was excited for the absolute line of the announcement. It was the most mocked announcement of that year to that point. And when they revealed the Absolute Batman
Logo.
chess piece, the logo, people went to town on how shitty they thought it was.
Yeah, I was one of those people.
It wasn't even a month later when the internet was flooded with designs for the character. And it was Batman and it was Wonder Woman that had people going insane.
Hype.
Insane.
You're a hype machine.
Yeah. Yep. So we will see where the hype brings us next week. I can't wait personally to see what Marvel has in store for us. House of Ideas, please have a really good one. Please, please, please have a really good one.
We need it.
We do. Hey, Pete,
Hey, Sean.
you've got Summit Comics coming. That's exciting. Marvel's got Marvel Midnight, but you've got Summit Comics. How's everything going? Last time we talked to you, there was a Kickstarter that had just launched. I've been getting email updates about it almost every day. What's up? What's going on, man?
We are firing on all cylinders, man. We've got what, six active Kickstarters right now. Well, we've got
Oof.
two that are active, two that are still taking late pledges. Everything that we as a larger group have put out has successfully funded, which is great. There's been a lot of movement on our larger book, Pinnacle, which is the first thing that we put out. Um, everything's moving along and progressing really well. There's always a lot of conversations happening, on we've got a Discord for, the creators, and there's always a lot of chat, always a lot of ideas, ping-ponged around. It's a really inclusive, environment. Lots of stuff, always in motion. We currently have two books that are on Kickstarter right now, both of which are already fully funded with tons of time left to go. We've got the Cobalt Cricket, which is kind of like a Silver Age throwback, where it takes the silliness of its surrounding and its circumstances a little seriously. It's got fantastic art by Elias Gambit Melendez, and it's written by Sebastian Pichone. Really, really awesome book. Love the art style. It's got kind of like a modernized throwback kind of a feel to it. And we've got Wayfarer, which is written by Nate Schachter. It's kind of like our cosmic entry at the moment. It's a little bit of a tinges of Star Wars, tinges of kind of dramatic aspects into it. And it's about a man or an alien man who's trying to basically get back home to his family. That's slated as a 4-issue mini. So if you go to our website, just readsum.it, that's readsumm.it. We have a campaigns page too, so you can track all of our success, jump in on anything that you may have missed if they're doing late pledges, or see what's active in our pipeline.
Dude, I love the fact that first of all, both these books look great. The Cobalt Cricket that
Yeah.
just looks fucking awesome to me.
Uh,
But I love the fact that like I don't know these creators at all. And these are books that are way funded, way funded. Cobalt Cricket
yep.
is at over double its pledge goal. It wanted 2,000, it's got 4,500 with 151 backers. That's a lot of support for really what is a new entity. Can you tell me, are these books benefiting from the Summit Comics bump and the unification of all of your audiences, or are these creators that already had a thing going on who are jumping in with Summit, and what we're seeing here is the result of their individual like audiences coming to bat?
I think it's a little bit of all of that.
Gotcha.
Honestly, like what's interesting, from what I've seen with these campaigns is, we're getting the rub, so to speak, by association. and we're all cheering each other on to succeed, right? Like my personal creative involvement in any of these books is non-existent. I am not drawing any of these. I have not, I didn't work on these books, but I'm sharing them on my socials to make sure that people that follow me are seeing it as well. I talk about them whenever I have the opportunity to anybody. Um, and that's kind of the creative community that we've built up here is promoting each other's work as if it's our own, because when one of us succeeds, we all do. And it's a there's a great sense of camaraderie for sure. Um, but also too, it's from a creative standpoint, there's so many ideas that are going around, whether it's asking somebody to double check an image that someone drew, or, hey, how did these panels look? There's tons of just this intermingled, cohabitated, creative energy, and it kind of flows through all projects.
It's like a jam. You guys are kind of there to support each other. Uh,
Yeah,
and I think it's also really good to uh within yourselves show the craft. You have other people, obviously art artists, art writers, who can have a constructive opinion, as opposed to you show it to uh friends a little bit early, right? Like, no, these are people who have and understand the craft, and they can be like, hey, actually this, hey, maybe pull this around, fix it, and you're all benefiting each other. You're all lifting each other.
yeah, and we're all fans of each other and others too. So it's like, we're bringing that viewpoint of what would I want to see in a comic, or, hey, maybe that's already been done before. Like we're just there's a high level of bouncing around ideas, and it produces the best possible product. And what we also are doing too, it's, not everything that's coming out through Kickstarter is coming out through like the official Summit channel. We save that for our bigger projects, and you know, um, the Summit created characters, which we'll probably get more into at a later point. But these are truly creator owned, right? Like Wayfarer is owned by the people that worked on that. Cobalt Cricket is owned by the people that worked on that. But Summit as an association is about supporting all of those creative groups who have the ownership over the title in the comic. So it's everything's been going really, really well.
I love that. That sounds like the old school NWA for those of you who are wrestling fans, where there's this overarching sort of entity that like promotes and works with all these individual smaller entities. I think that's really, really cool. Now here's something that I actually want you to speak to if you can. So Austin Lenny leaves us a really genuine comment. With the amount my pull size is already, it's really hard for me to jump into anything superhero that's not big too. How do you react to that? Because Summit Comics does seem like a collective of largely superhero or superhero-esque stories.
Yeah, certainly. Our intent was, um, look, everybody gets into comic books because they like superheroes, right? Like it's that's almost the case across the board, right? Everybody that reads comic books has read a superhero comic book, and if it didn't drive them to buying more, maybe it drove them to creating it. Maybe they just took away some joy from a singular story, right? Our goal is to show that in the indie side of the business, that there's still room to tell superhero stories, to have a unique stance or a unique spin on something that, you know, and that Marvel and DC, for all of their work and all of their properties, they don't own the concept of spandex clad heroes doing good. So for us, it's about showing that there is an alternative, and that there is room for that at an indie level. Um, as far as the Polish question, that's tough, right? Like I think, from a collector standpoint, I have my books that I will probably buy in perpetuity, regardless of the quality of the book, right? But I also have books that I buy on a whim because maybe I have a little extra scratch in my pocket and I want to try something different. Um, we aim to be that alternative, right? Where we're saying, here's an idea that we have. We hope that you really like it. And we hope that you'll stick around for the ride as long as it lasts. Um, we try to incorporate character ideas that have some type of similarity to it, to something that you may get at your local comic shop, right? Like, that's not to say we're making knockoffs or derivatives of characters, but there's similarities, and we like to pay homage to, what interested us and drove us to creating the things that we're working on. Um, we also try to make it entirely unique, right? Like whether it's a funny spin on something, or like we don't have we don't have a Spider-Man character, but we have a character that visually, from an homage standpoint, may fit into that niche, and we're going to run with the humor portion of it in an entirely different way. We're going to make sure that the audience sees that the characters themselves are unique.
Love it.
I think the other thing to call out here, if you're seeing that you're dropping certain titles from a uh, Marvel or DC perspective, the Florida entry is $5. It's the same price. One
Yeah,
week you go, I already dropped this book. 1 week, let me put that towards the digital copy of Cobalt Cricket. Right? Like you're already taking a chance on a book from the big two that you're already iffy on. This is a perfect alternative.
we also have our ear to our backers,
Yep.
for sure. So if we're taking creative feedback and we're reviewing it wholeheartedly, I can't say that the same's happening if you didn't like an issue of Spider-Man or a direction of a title, right? But for us at our small level, that is a consideration. You know, we are keeping our ear, to the heartbeat of like what our audience is looking at and what their interests are.
Well, I am very interested in Summit Comics. Pinnacle should be on its way to me whenever it is that you guys get that
Soon.
shipped out. Super exciting. And I love when we get to have you on here to talk about it and get some updates about what's happening at Summit, because it is super exciting. Like, I don't have a need for more superhero stories, but you guys are not creators that I see all the time. If it was, I don't know, if it was an offshoot that had stories from whoever, just Hickman and like the same people, right? I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, but I get that from Marvel. Like I get their superhero stuff from Marvel. But you guys doing your own thing elsewhere, is like, and then like the idea that they weren't created to be together, but then they are together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's something to that. That's kind of cool.
And we also try to really pull in, we're, we're trying to keep our grassroots indie style with everything here too, right? Like Marvel's got their in-house art style. DC's got their in-house art style. The type of artists that we have, like they may not fall into that, but they're still producing beautiful work. They're still producing unique imagery that, aligns with the stories that they're accompanying, and we're fitting it all together. I recently just did a mashup promo piece with all of our characters. It'll be on socials probably soon, I think. Um,
Sick.
and just to kind of show like these are the type of characters that we're offering. And when I put that together, and it was cropping in other artists' images, and I wanted to make sure that we were showing our artists as much as we were showing our characters. And when I put it all together, I sat back and looked at it, and was kind of amazed at just how unique every single image looked, but also it looked like it went together. And I think that's something that we all take pride in, is our uniqueness, but how it still comes together cohesively.
Hell yeah. We just got 5 Comics Pals gifted memberships given away by none other than Amin Almighty Perez. Thank you so much, brother, for that.
And y'all know what we do. I already got 5 locked and loaded. I'm going to hit that through and then hit all the names at the same time. We got See, starting with the means, Austin Lenny gifted membership, Native Titan, Andrew Carnes, CLS Rocks, and Rami Darwish. Enjoy those gifted memberships. But we also got Croco Dylan Tranen, Josh Baker, Larry Quartzowitz, Andrew Dunson, and Scuba Steve. Let's
What?
go. Patrick is saying, need to give some of these motherfuckers some deodorant. I don't know what you're on about, but
Whoa.
enjoy those gifted. Yeah, there you go. Let's see those heads. Let's see those pals heads in the chat.
We don't have a stinky audience.
We shower.
The 100 plus people that are here right now shower at least twice a week.
Christ.
At least. Listen, I have been to many a comic book store. I've been to many a card game tournament. And these people are functified 9 times out of 10. But I know that this audience is full of people who are largely clean by comparison. And I'm telling you now, if you shower twice a week, you are cleaner than the average player of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, and Naruto.
Uh-oh.
Or excuse me, that game's canceled. One Piece. You were cleaner than all of them.
Canceled?
The card game did get canceled, yeah. That was a
Like-
while ago.
Like they no longer produce cards, or like something in the community canceled them from playing?
They no longer produce cards.
Okay, I was like, the whole community, some shit went down. Like, what's the tea? Hold on a second.
Yo, bro, I used to play Lorcana, and those were some dirty dudes. I don't know why. Disney and dirty don't go together. I think of cleanness when I think about Disney.
Oh
These-
yeah, sparkling clean, man. Sparkling clean. Have you been to Disney?
Absolutely.
They do like clockwork, man. They got like people on the DL just walking around picking up trash, cleaning stuff. You don't even see them half the time.
I actually think if you try to throw trash on the ground, you get swept away. You get sucked into a different dimension by Walt Disney, and he kills you there. Either that or you become a ghost, and you have to clean Disney in perpetuity. Because I've never even seen an ounce of trash. I haven't even seen I've never seen a piece of paper in Disney. How is that possible? How the fuck are you that clean?
Like
Who's
Japan.
doing this? I don't even see the clean people. I don't see them, but I also don't see trash.
I remembered reading this somewhere, and I just looked it up just to double check. Disney has an in-house policy where they have a trash can no more than every 30 feet apart.
Wow, dude.
So you have no excuse. Like there's one visibly to your north, south, east, and west,
Yeah. Any given point.
less than 30 feet.
If you're not already at a trash
Yep.
can.
7, 8 steps, and you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got no excuse.
Ted H, making no excuses to give us $20, brother. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I really appreciate it, dude. No comment either. If you've got a comment, we will read it, man. But I appreciate the support totally. Hey, ABBC said, bro, I have a Lorcana box to open right now. I want you to open it on stream, bro. Let me find out. Share your pulls, dude. I need to know if you pull broken. I love nothing more than a box opening. That's my favorite thing in the world. I wish I had a box of cards to open.
Oh, you said open broken?
Yeah.
Like
That means like your pulls were really great, like
Oh, okay.
broken.
Gotcha,
you know?
gotcha.
Oh man, I'm having fun today. I'm actually wallowing in sorrow right now, and so I'm trying to make sure that we are having a fun show that can help bring me out of my doldrum. And one of the things we're going to do that is we're going to talk about DC women.
Ooh.
Because talking about DC women always makes me feel better. Top 5 DC women is what we're doing here to celebrate Women of DC Month. Last week we did the tier list of DC women, in which, of course, that was completely accurate. Now we're doing our top 5. We're on number 4 of our top 5 DC women. Pete, You may not have five. Do you have one at least?
Barbara Gordon.
Beautiful.
Barbara Gordon. That's a character I always enjoyed. I enjoyed her as Batgirl. I enjoyed her as Oracle. I think she's always been a well-rounded character. Um, and flexible. Flexible to the story you need, whether it's a supportive role, an upfront role, whether it's playing the emotional beat of somebody who's, gone through a traumatic event and is paralyzed, right? Like whatever the beat is, I think Barbara Gordon fits in really well, and is always portrayed as a strong, smart character without being, without hitting like impossible targets, right? She's not a god, she's not a cosmic thing. She's a person. I think that's a good character.
Love that. Greg Katzman, the man, stopping by to say it was great seeing Matthew Rosenberg on the show earlier this week. He's a great dude, and it's nice seeing If Destruction Be Our Lot get such a strong debut and reaction. Thank you so much, Greg. That conversation with Matthew Rosenberg has been in my head all week. I loved it. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great writer, and I thought that was one of our better interviews that we've been able to do. I hope people picked up If Destruction Be Our Lot. Marco, what'd you think of it?
It
Briefly.
was
I know you reviewed it already.
really good. Me and Tyler got into a whole, philosophical conversation on, the them being consciousness, the need for need. Yeah, I really dug the ideas that were put out there. I think Rosenberg's doing a good job. And then you know what? I just need to know what his take on AI is. That's all I need. Next.
I don't
Jay
think you
State,
I
go
don't think
ahead.
you're gonna align with his take on AI.
I don't think
Um,
so either.
I don't think so either. Yeah, Rosenberg's awesome. He's a true champion, I think, of like the indie scene too. Like he doesn't hesitate to promote books that he's picked up himself that he's enjoyed. He had kind words about Bardic Verses also, so I'm always grateful to him for that. Um, yeah, hell of a dude.
Did he organically find it, or did you guys put it in his hands, or how did that
No,
happen?
I'm pretty sure he organically found it. He may have even backed it on the Kickstarter.
Hell yeah.
I
That's
have to
what's
look at the
up.
list. But yeah, nice guy.
Jay Sage with 199 says Saturday's always fun with the pals. Love you all. Thank you, dude. We are only 4 out of 10 on our goal, so we may not even end up playing the Woat or any other game here at the end of the show, but we still got some time. Marco, who's your number 4 DC woman?
My number 4 is hold on. Death of the Endless. I am a big Sandman fan, and seeing death as the abstraction of, obviously, the abstraction of death, be this young, kind of whip smart, perky, just chill girl, goth girl, is such a different way to what I've always thought of, and the way that that plays into her character and her story. She gets a separate side story as well. Death gets her own series, which is also really really strong. And overall, I think she is such a key figure to that side of the universe, the Sandman universe. But just as an entity, it's a great conversation. It's a great thought. So really good.
Um, for me, my number 4 should be a surprise to no one. Cheetah. I love Cheetah. Barbara Ann Minerva, you already know how I feel about this character. But I've loved Cheetah way before I was a goon. I've loved Cheetah ever since the Super Friends because she was a part of the Legion of Doom. And if I recall correctly, she was the only woman on it. And she was Wonder Woman's antagonist, which I thought was really interesting. And I have loved Cheetah ever since then. Various iterations of the character, different designs, thick and thin. I think that she's so cool. She's deadly. And then the story that, the way that Rucka expanded on her during his second stint with Wonder Woman, and how he expanded on the lore of Urstakaga or Urstkaga, whatever the fucking demon that made her that way. Um, he made her more than just eye candy or more than just a threat. He made her a character that I really cared about. And so yeah, for me, Cheetah. And I'm still waiting for her to be done right on the big screen. Still waiting. Because that Wonder Woman 84 movie, mm-mm, mm,
Keep waiting, brother.
I will. Patrick Zay with the 499 says outside. Thank you, bro. Thank you for being outside with us every Saturday. You're a real one. Steve Canaris drops 5 on us and says Janet from HR, top 5 DC woman, play that goat game. I love it. I love it. Thank you both so much for that. Even if we don't get to the goal, I'll remember you in my heart. But I don't want to stop there talking about DC women. I want to go a little further. I want to play a game, impromptu game. Here's how it's going to work. We have to name 10 women in DC who are mothers. That's what we have to do. So we're going to go from, we'll start with Pete. We're going to start with Pete. We'll go Pete, Marco, myself. And whoever can name the most mothers, and maybe we'll go past 10. We'll see how easy it is. Whoever can name the most mothers will be the winner of the game. What do you win? A no prize. Enjoy it. It's really the loser who has to deal with it most because you're going to get mocked. Now, are we ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, kick us off. Name
Well,
a mother.
I'm gonna start off with the easy ones and get those out of the way quick. Martha Kent.
Boom.
Ooh. I'm gonna do Barda.
Son of a bitch.
Good one.
That was my.
Me too, dude. I was like, that's going to stay in the chamber for me.
Yeah.
I am going to name Shiva.
Ooh. Queen Hippolyta.
Nice. In that same vein, my next one was Wonder Woman.
Well, in that same vein, I guess, my next one is Ma Kent.
I already said Martha Kent, man.
Oh! I thought you said Wayne.
No, no. Well, you
Oh,
did say Martha Wayne.
dude, I hear Martha. Why
I know.
did you say that
It's
name?
confusing. Yeah, Martha. Yeah, it's confusing.
All right, Martha Wayne, excuse me.
Okay. Talia al Ghul.
Oh, damn.
We're already at 7, I think, right? That's pretty good.
Abigail Arcane.
All right. I'm going to say DC Mothers. DC Mothers. Fuck, am I out? Hold on. I cannot be out. Amanda Waller. Whew.
Lois Lane.
Oh no,
Bang.
that was the next one. Oh,
That's 10. Do you guys want to continue? Do you think we can?
let me see.
Keep going.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Fuck it.
See if I lose here. Hold on. Oh my God. OG Black Canary. Oh my God. Fuck, I'm blanking.
OG Black Canary.
The her mom.
Oh, you better give me a name, brother, and you better keep your hands where I can see them.
Oh, oh dude, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name. No, I don't got it.
Game over. Game over. Marco, the biggest loser, unfortunately, in this case. Pete, how much further could you have gone, bro? I got one.
I got 1 or 2. What do you got?
I got Cheshire. because of the Cheetah and Cheshire route to Justice League.
That's a good one. That was one of my two. Mara.
So
Mara, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And I thought I had another one. I think the original Liberty Bell, if I'm not mistaken, but that was an iffy one.
Chat's throwing some out. Silencer. Okay. Linda Park. That's a good
that's a good
one.
one. Yeah.
Oh, Linda Park is a good one.
Dinah Lance. Is she a mom? I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
Dinah
didn't know.
Drake.
Dinah Drake. That's the first one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Perpetua. Cardiac, you just got here and you already need to go, bro. You need to go now, bro. Well, we tried to honor women. Marco couldn't hack it.
Out, out. We got to 10 at least collectively.
We did do 10.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. That's wonderful. All right. If you were not tired of Spider-Man teaming up with either the Hulk or Punisher or Daredevil, if you were tired of that, I've got bad news.
Oh,
It's happening again. And I may, depending on your disposition, have even more bad news for you. Certainly, it is not good news for me because Spider-Man Hulk, Fire and Brimstone is coming from the from the creative team of Andy McElfresh, who is, I don't know who that is, and Kevin Smith.
ooh.
They're the writers. The art will be from R.B. Silva. Now, the gimmick here is that Bruce Banner wants to exorcise the Hulk from his body. He wants to do an exorcism on himself to get rid of Hulk. And Spider-Man's going to help him do that for some reason. Daredevil is also in this. Why? I wonder if there's a movie coming out that all three of them will be in. Mole Man will be in this as an antagonist, and if you can go by the cover, so will Sandman and the Absorbing Man. I'm going to start with my thoughts because there is nothing that is interesting me less than this right now. R.B. Silva is Ever Brown as an artist for me now. After One World Under Doom, this cover does nothing to help. He needs to get a different colorist. He just has to. He has to. Kevin Smith, that Bizarro Year None, rough.
Yeah.
Brutal. And finally, I'm way more excited about the other Spider-Man Hulk team-up book with Jonathan Hickman writing it. So this is like pass of the year for me.
Yeah, this is fortunately not interesting. And they're trying to make this like an exorcism thing, leaning into a bit of maybe some magic or some of the horror stuff that Hulk's currently doing, which okay, I can get, but it's not that team. It's not who knows what angle they're gonna take within this. And so this very much was just like, hey, here's an idea, from Kevin Smith. And let's figure out how to make this a book. The preview pages, I will say, don't look too bad. I do like Garby Silva, but I don't know if this is interesting as a concept. Could be good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like 50-50 on this. I think Kevin Smith has a pretty decent voice if the direction of the story is leaning into, religious points, Catholicism, that sort of thing. I think he's proven that he does have some interesting things to say with that from his past work in Daredevil as Dogma. Like I think there's a potential there. But I also feel that there's a really good chance that whatever interesting points or story elements come from that are going to be completely undone with unnecessary cock and ball jokes. So I am kind of, you know, I don't know that he's the right voice for this kind of story if that's going to happen. So The art looks okay though. I like the artist. To your point though, the colorist that's kind of like all age coloring. I'm not really cool with that. I don't know. I probably won't go out of my way to buy it unless I hear really good things. Maybe I'll pick it up as a collection.
I don't even want this in my fucking, like, I don't want this in my collection. And that's a way I rarely feel, but like, I don't even want to buy this. I hope it's not on Pals Pulls because I don't give a fuck. Like, how many Spider-Man Hulk books are we going to get that are just like blatant cash grabs? It's blatant. I'm not saying that the story can't be good. It could. But the only reason this exists is synergy. And we already have a book that's that. Why do we need another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. But you know now that you said what you said, it's going to be on your pull list now, right? It's Pals Pulls is going to push this one through on you.
Pete, you want to know what the
You've said it out
fucking
loud.
you want to know what's fucked about it? I am Pals Pulls in the sense that I put that list together. I do it to me.
Oh man.
Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll, please.
Oh, man.
It'll have to at least make the poll, but it may make the show. I don't know what's going to come out that week. If it's a shit week, this book might need to make it.
It's like that boy Bizarro.
Oh, dude, I was excited about that. I was excited about Bizarro.
Not it, dude.
It wasn't it. The art was great, I thought, but boy,
Yeah. That was
Boy.
Brazzo, right?
it was It was Nick Pitara.
Right. That's right.
Jawstar with the 10 spot. I really love Smith's Green Arrow. Wish I were more excited about his recent resurgence in comics. Thank you, brother. I have no history with Kevin Smith at all. I'm only going by like what's been coming out. And Year None was so bad for me that like it put the stink on Smith. Like I'm afraid now.
His
Yo.
Daredevil run was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. His Green Arrow is, I think, the best stuff. I'm interested to see what comes of like Jay and Silent Bob and the Marvel crossover thing. But
I feel like that's
yeah,
partially, hey, let's get some promo. Let's get this released, but also write us a book, maybe.
yeah,
Everyone that I know who loved Jay and Silent Bob when I was young, like when it came out or whatever, all of them were smoking weed. I wasn't smoking weed. So I was like, I don't get this. I don't understand it. Is that all? Is it only like, can you only get it if you are smoking weed?
no, no. Although I will say that a number of those movies probably haven't aged well, um, you know, at all. I think like the earlier movies lent themselves to a more crude late 90s, early 2000s kind of dialogue that isn't really acceptable by, you know, most modern standards.
It's a good
Um,
point.
Dogma is really good. I enjoy Dogma. And I don't know. I have a special place in my heart for Mallrats because I saw that when I was like 10. I shouldn't have. So, and I really shouldn't have. But yeah, I like Dogma. Dogma's great. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is probably the most accessible one, and you kind of need to know the other movies to watch that or to appreciate it at a fine level.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Kevin Smith. I've never, not even 1 second of one, I don't think.
Only seen, I think, Clerks, 1 and 2. But I have heard good things about Dogma. I've seen
Yeah,
that.
Dogma's real good. I'd give it a watch. I think you'd probably like it. There's there's a decent story there, and it's got Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So, you know,
Rest
Alan,
in peace.
Alan Rickman, Chris Rock.
yeah.
Wait,
Rest
in
in
peace.
peace. Yeah, Matt Damon. Hero says, yeah, this must be a 90s thing because I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Brother, how old are you? You don't know about Kevin Smith? By the way, for everybody who's Googling the death of Matt Damon, it's a very old joke.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
that's what I was.
I'm like, what's going on? Wait.
that is mid 2000s internet. about Matt Damon being dead. But yeah, I am going to stay home, hopefully, for this book. But if you're not, it'll be out July 19th.
There you go.
So you can get that if you would like. Uh no, Matt Damon did not pass away. Rick Remender and Steve Epting are dropping the hammer on us this summer because that crazy ass creative team, alongside Matt Hollingsworth, is putting out a new book through Image through Giant Generator called Hammerfist. And it's about a dude who's got a fucking hammer fist, man. Remender says it's Reservoir Dogs meets Evil Dead. Haven't seen either one. That means nothing to
Holy
me.
shit. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
That's cool.
That sounds awesome.
Well, how does this sound? In Hammerfist, readers meet Mike Denton, a dirtbag hitman, junkie, and absentee father. He spent his life chasing the easy fix, drugs, cheap sex, and murder for money, all while failing the one person who still believes he can be better, his daughter. Now, on the eve of Black Noon, an ancient darkness that erases the light in all things, Mike has to drag himself out of the gutter, awaken a supernatural weapon powered only by love, and fight his way through the living embodiment of evil to save her. This is the story of an irredeemable killer forced to do the one thing he's avoided his entire life: stand for something other than himself.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. I saw the pictures before we jumped on here, and like I saw like just a very brief, thing like who's involved, whatever. I didn't read the synopsis. That is the coolest fucking synopsis I have ever heard.
Yeah.
All right. And if it's got Reservoir Dogs meets Evil Dead vibes, first off, I was sold on Reservoir Dogs vibes. Now you're throwing in Evil Dead. Yeah, that sounds rad.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the Reservoir Dogs angle of like, heist gone wrong or drugs involved, all that kind of stuff. Like that seems cool. That's rad. And yeah, the visuals are arresting. This is a rad concept. There's this old anime called S Cryed. It could be a deep cut for a lot of people, but the whole concept was this one dude with like an arm. It could transform and had like different gears and would power through something. I'm getting similar vibes here, and the rendering's awesome.
Evil Dead is a comedy? I've not seen it. Isn't it a comedy?
Uh, it depends which version and iteration you're in, but yeah, sort of.
Bummer. This makes me think about Rick Remender's book. What was it called? It's with the fucking the scumbag. The scumbag.
Oh,
Which the scumbag was solid, but it was too much drug joke, sex joke, murder joke. I don't want that. I like serious Rick. So I hope he brings that. I'm not saying that you can't have any joke. I'm just saying that I feel like, you know, everything about this is up my alley, except if it's going to be wacky
mm,
or a parody of something.
yeah, yeah. You want him pensive.
Yeah, Harris says Evil Dead is campy horror that blends comedy. I don't want that.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. I really love it. You've never seen Army of Darkness?
Nah.
Oh man. Um, yeah, it's not like frat house humor. It's just kind of stupid humor at times.
Gotcha.
But they, it's a lot of practical effects and stupid gore and that sort of thing. And then there's Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is I want to say it was like a Showtime show that kind of is like a sequel to that. It's pretty good.
Oh, that was fun.
It's pretty good. But they also have serious versions of it too. So like they remade the original Evil Dead as a serious horror movie, and it's there's some crazy stuff in that.
Wait, when did they do that?
2006, 2009, early 2000-ish.
Oh,
And that was really, really good. Maybe it was 2012. And then they've got Evil Dead Rising, and then there's a new one that they just dropped a trailer for like 2 weeks ago.
Evil Dead
So there's like
Burn.
Yeah, that's it. So there's like the serious versions, which are gnarly, and then there's like the true version with Bruce Campbell, where it's, campy and all that.
Is
And that's
Sam
it.
Raimi behind
Yeah,
both
yeah.
versions?
Uh,
What?
All of
I
it,
think
no?
he direct. I know he directed the original stuff. He's probably a producer on the newer ones. I don't think he's directed them. No, in fact, I know
Damn.
he hasn't directed them.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. So I might have to watch that 2006 shit because I want to see the serious version.
Oh, 2013 it looks like.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
sure.
that's it. That's it.
That's
That's it.
oh, but that's a different. It's based on Evil Dead, but that's by Fede Alvarez on director.
Yeah, yeah. It's based on the same story. It's like a re-envisioning kind of thing. Not for the squeamish.
Okay. Well, this preview art is phenomenal. Steve Epting is one of my favorite artists of all time. It's unlettered, so we don't know what the verbiage is going to be like. But I think Rick tends to know what the vibe of a book is and deliver that. So if the vibe of this book is a little comedy, it'll be there, and it'll probably work. It'll probably be funny. Um, but it looks pretty dark. Like it looks pretty intense. And then as far as covers go, they've got a murderer's row of cover artists for this bad boy. So of course, cover A, Steve Epting. Cover B, Jerome Pena, who um who I love. Cover C, Nick Klein.
Ooh,
Cover D's the blank. Cover E, though, got that Dan Panosian, which I'm probably gonna have to cop.
it's on the screen right
Cover
now.
Oh, I gotta see that. I haven't even seen the actual cover. I just know I need it.
Wow.
And then can I how do I, that's
Yeah, it
fire.
looks good. Real
Yeah,
good.
dude. Woo! Panosian always delivers. Then you've got Andrew Robinson for cover F. Cover G is the 1 of 50 incentive by Daniel Acuna. And then cover H is 1 of 100 incentive by Andrew Robinson, foil. So I'm assuming it's a foil version of cover F. Cool. I am going to be cover A, cover E guy for this. And we'll be able to get it. When will we be able to get it? This is August 26th.
Okay, not bad.
So, yeah.
Upcoming.
I'll be all over that shit. Like white on rice. We can't spin the wheel today because Tyler literally physically has our wheel. But I think we should all drink water
Hell yeah.
or whatever we got. How about that? Good stuff. Pete, why don't you, if you can, highlight a book, highlight something that you've read recently that you really enjoyed.
Oh man, put me on a spot. Um, I've really been enjoying the Super Bright Prime stories.
Oh
DC's
yeah.
been
Yes.
putting out. I think that's been really awesome just to kind of see like that fourth world breaking comic comic book nerd, kind of dialogue and drips and drabs in there. I think that's been really fun. Plus it's Dan Mora art in a lot of cases there, so I buy stuff just because Dan Mora does art. So, um, but I have been so busy drawing. I am so far behind. My stack may be bigger than yours, Sean.
Oh, it's not.
I'm sure it's not, but it sounded good in my head. Uh, but no, I haven't read. I haven't really read too much in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, that's something I've been really enjoying. I've liked that.
Good shit.
Oh
Loving the
yeah,
story, man.
Yeah.
totally. That's been fire. Hopefully, this will be fire. Speaking of Superman Kingdom of Zod
Mm.
has been announced. So Superman's been off the table for a little while post DCKO. We don't know where the man is. And on the other side, Zod he was depowered, uh, I believe after Absolute Power, and then I think he's been getting his powers back over time.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a crossover that deals with his rise back to power and what he plans to do with that power. So this is going to be taking place in Supergirl, Action Comics, Superman Unlimited, and Superman. All those books will play a part. It'll be tag team, baton pass as crossovers tend to be, and Zod will be the primary antagonist. Um, we know that there's way more kryptonite than there used to be on Earth, and that's going to play a role in this story. Um, it looks like, I mean, I could be wrong. It looks like this, or at least we know about 4 parts so far. We know about Supergirl 16, Action Comics 11,001, Superman Unlimited 16, and Superman 41. Those will all be direct pieces of the story here.
Oh, I like that. It stays within, it stays local with respect to all the stuff that's going on with Superman. But I think one of the worst things is always, how an event can derail multiple books across a variety of things. But if they can write this into the story, man, I trust DC to be able to do that. Like incorporate this. It's not just a hey, we're trying to get the crossover. There's some intention here. It's probably being built into some aspect of the story already, so you can kind of lay down some seeds.
And it keeps the synergy within like the super family. I think that's great. And I like Zod as a villain. I think, I think he's often referenced, often forgotten, you know. Everybody remembers Superman snaps Zod's neck, or whatever, like the big points, but like Zod is a cool villain. And I'd like to see him like, truly unleashed, doing evil Kryptonian things. I think I kind of suspect how this one's probably going to end. Clark coming back from wherever he is or whatever to save the day and all that jazz. But I hope it's a good ride. It looks fun. Um, yeah, I like Zod.
Yeah, Zod is cool. I haven't enjoyed him as much in the comics as I have in movies because Superman 2, he's obviously fucking incredible in that. And then Man of Steel, whatever you think about that movie, I personally feel like the actor who played Zod and just the presentation of Zod was really great.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
And so I'm always here for Zod. Bring it on. And I like the idea that when Superman is absent, Zod chooses to strike. That's bad. Because I know Superman can handle him, but I don't know about the rest of these people.
And the
Yeah.
family.
And yeah, I don't know if the family can deal with Zod.
And this may play into Superboy Prime story where he's like, "Yo, this is my first bad," right? So maybe Superman doesn't even come out of this. It's just like I can handle it. I am Superman now. I can beat Zod.
Dude, it's his first event, like
Yeah.
as the
Yes.
lead.
Yes. Oh my god. He's gonna be so hyped, dude. We're talking about him like he's fucking like because he perceives it. He sees it, right? Like,
Yeah.
damn, that's cool.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
wait. If that's the angle, this recontextualizes it. I'm that much more excited for it.
Because I feel like it has to be the angle, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, this is exciting. This is fun. Um, and it's in September. It's going to run through September, so not a ton long to wait. Superman is in an interesting spot right now where they're doing the Reign of the Superboys event, which doesn't feel like. I mean, it's not an event. It's a status quo. It doesn't feel like much, but we now know where it's leading,
Mm,
and I'm into that.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
um,
these variants. I don't have any on the screen. At least we pulled them. Yeah. But they have these. They look like old cards. Like the backs of cards. Kind of torn and worn. That shit looks rad.
yeah, yeah, this is sick. This is just sick. Um, I'm hyped. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. But what that does mean is that uh that's the show. I've got to talk to you guys about the rest of our patrons, but we didn't make the goal. So we are not going to play the woke game this morning, unfortunately. Only the second time we've ever missed it. I'm going to say thank you to the rest of our patrons who support this whole thing. And then we're going to send you guys. We'll free you. So thank you to Amin the Almighty Perez, Houston, the Century Kid Murphy, Young Dende, Faith Fighter Dewooty, Cosmic November, Carter the Owl Shogunate, Steve Swarm Canara, Scripture the Wardens of the Word, Jack of Some Trades Cloutier, Emperor MD Johnny, Mad Max Pliskin, Lieutenant Earl Wagnus the Death Dealer, Jack Grimstone Grimmy, Eli the Mothman, Patrick Zay, Captain Chris, Ray Lytle, Super Job, Intergray, and Ash the Golem. I promise a new entry into the Palsverse next week for our 500th episode, in fact.
Ooh.
Some of you may be aware that I was not around this week, and so I wasn't able to get to it. But next week, 500 should be a great time. Can't wait to see you all there.
That's a big deal, man. That's huge. Uh, all new, all exciting Comics Pals. Giant size Comics Pals.
Hey, a lot of comic books don't get to 500. A lot of
Yeah.
characters don't have their 500th issue yet.
No way.
So we're doing better than Iron Man, maybe. We're doing better than Cap. Feel like we are. I'm gonna say we are. How about that? Fuck it. Captain America, 100 years old. We've got more issues than him. Iron Man, rich as shit. We've got more issues than him.
Yeah.
Great Devlin suggests that we reset the numbering after next week. What if we just stop showing it to you? What if every episode of the Comics Pals just has a different, like, surname to it?
Like
You know,
title?
like how they stopped giving you numbers for movies?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like Avengers Endgame or Avengers Doomsday. Comics Pals Midnight. Comics Pals Absolute. You know, every episode just a different name.
Uncanny.
Big Trouble in Little Comics Pals.
Who's the little Comics Pal?
I'm Little
Marco.
Comics Pals.
Marco, keep your little Comics Pal in your pants, okay? We are live. All right?
How'd you know it's dangling?
Because you're the dangler. Super Job says, will there be cake? Cake is not for me. I cannot have cake, but the rest of the pals can. And we're going to have some fun things happening. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff. I'm not sure if I want to announce them. Well, I do. I want to put some pressure on Tyler. Call-ins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We've been teasing it. We've talked about it. It's happening. Call-ins are coming. We'll talk about how we're going to do it, but we're going to do call-ins. We're going to have a special guest. That guest is BJ Kicks.
Oh.
Nice.
The Casey Jones to our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, we're going to have fun. Hopefully you guys will come and show your love and support to your boys from reaching a massive milestone. Until then, peace, pals.